The purpose of this video is to talk about referendums, initiatives, and the role they play in the Arizona Constitution. Currently, there's 26 states who allow citizen-initiated ballot measures, meaning not every state allows initiatives and referendums. So initiative allows citizens to pretty much propose a new law, adjust the current law, or in some states make changes to the state's constitution themselves. Arizona is one of those states. It allows a way to kind of circumvent the legislation process and not only rely on voted officials, but give power to citizens to adjust or make a new law that they see fit. A referendum is a process that allows citizens to vote on existing laws or propose laws that have already been passed by state legislature. The process of which, how it's played out, differs in every state. For the way initiatives and referendums are created in Arizona, they're mostly based on public opinion. So if public as a whole or enough percentage of it does not agree with certain law or constitutional amendment needs to be made in their eyes, they have an ability to propose a new law or amendment or take away a law they see is no longer applicable or fit for their state. The most common type of initiatives are direct initiatives and indirect initiatives. So direct initiatives can be directly added to the ballot after meeting signature requirements. Specifically in Arizona, there needs to be a 15% valid signature citizen vote for a proposed initiative to change a constitutional amendment. For a constitutional amendment, while only 10% required for a statutory amendment to be added to the ballot for the next election. Indirect initiatives have to be first submitted to legislature before potentially being put on the ballot, so they review it and they have to have an agreement before it's passed onto the ballot. So in Arizona, it's 15% for constitutional, with 10% statutory. There's a different minimum requirements for signers for each state, and the amount of power that the citizen has for legislation differs for each state. Arizona is one of the states that offers the most power for direct democracy, partially because it was one of the newer states, so we wanted to be in line with the progressive movement of giving power to the people. There's cons and pros to each of the referendums and initiatives. The existence of initiatives and referendums is intended to have state citizens to have more of a say in the way the state government is run, and does not solely rely on elected officials. So even though there's still legislation done without the direct citizenship involvement, it is another avenue for citizens to get involved apart from electing officials to make the decisions for them. So people can bring light to issues they're facing, and with the requirement of a certain amount of signatures, as I mentioned before, they're able to put on the next ballot for the next election for all the citizens of the state to vote on. Which is a great thing for people who want to create laws that are more friendlier to their state. For example, the legalizing marijuana was something that was an initiative in Arizona that got proposed and was passed because it was something that the citizens believed that they could benefit from. Some negatives of initiatives and referendums can result in poorly drafted law. For citizens to be able to draft a law, they're not always well versed in law. So the way it's constructed, the wording can be incorrect or not valid, and also can be overseen some stipulations of what specifically needs to be added into it. A lot of times, people who want to create a new law, they will use the aid of a lawyer who can word it correctly. Another concern is that it can be a voter fatigue, meaning there's a lot of different options with different initiatives that are brought up, and to the point where voters don't really take the time to learn about each possible initiative to be passed. And so they can kind of vote without being well informed, which is not guaranteed, but is something that can be an issue amongst the voting. There's also concerns about influence about initiatives being proposed of people who have special interest groups, meaning businesses who want certain initiatives to be passed, influencing voters to start it. According to some studies, it's not necessarily a huge issue. It's more of an issue with referendums taking away certain laws that are not favorable to special interest groups. So it has cons and pros, but overall it allows for citizens of Arizona to have a direct influence on the way their state is run. So direct democracy is the idea of citizens of a state being able to directly affect the state legislation, and brings a new avenue for new ideas, new laws to be passed without solely relying on the state elected officials. So in a way, it's a shortcut without relying on an elected official. Decisions can vary. It can be from budget, from educational funding, or even possibly the removal of an elected official that is not seen to be upholding their duties as part of the public. And that's what a certain requirement for signatures, because somebody can be upset about one thing, but it could be just a personal issue that's not felt by a large percent of the population. Notable initiative that Arizona has is also the women's suffrage. It was passed in 1912. This is 8 years before the Constitution of the United States amended it. So it provides insight of how it can be a really big positive, giving women the right to vote. That was initiated by citizens, where otherwise they would have to wait another 8 years, and gives more power to the people to be able to control what goes to their state, and it gives them more incentive to participate, knowing that their decisions, their actions are weighted heavily among the state's government. And